WXII 12 News. This is breaking news.
Well, right now at 10, we're following two big breaking news stories. Results from the New Hampshire primary election are starting to take shape. And it's looking like it's going to be a good night for Bernie Sanders.
Meanwhile, back in the Triad, deputies, police dogs, and drones are all frantically searching for two missing children in Davidson County. That's where we begin tonight, and welcome. A 10-year-old boy and an 8-year-old girl have been missing since late this afternoon.
Let's get straight to Brandon Bates. He joins us live tonight. Brandon, what are you hearing from investigators there?
Well, we're just about a couple hundred yards away from the command center at North Davidson Middle School, where these investigators are really, it's an all hands on deck issue here, looking for this 10-year-old boy and 8-year-old girl. You can see the fire department has their ladder up, shining some light around this middle school. Not exactly sure why this is where they're searching, but their drone has been put up here and this ladder has been up here. We've seen canines, bloodhounds, all hands on deck. I want to show you the picture of these two young children. Take a look. 10-year-old Malachi Chilton and 8-year-old Mackenzie Chilton. They were last seen at their house on Critcher Drive about a half a mile away at 4:30 p.m. today. When we got to the scene, an officer said that they were last seen walking out of their house with their backpacks on. This is all taking place in the Welcome community. And by the way, 10-year-old Malachi Chilton was last seen wearing a dark color sweatshirt, jeans, Jordan tennis shoes, and he had a backpack on. 8-year-old Mackenzie Chilton was last seen wearing a gray jacket, black leggings, tennis shoes, and a pink backpack. Here's some video from the scene earlier today as the dogs were going around looking for any kind of scent. And now crews have been searching certain areas of Critcher Drive and Old U.S. Highway 52. We're told search crews consisted of the canines, the drones tonight, trying to find these two young children as fast as they possibly can. Kids have been missing for over 5 hours now, so hopefully we'll get some good news soon as I hear this drone buzzing right above my head. As the search continues, you are asked to contact 911 immediately if you know anything. Again, the 10-year-old boy, 8-year-old girl here in Davidson County still have not been found safe tonight. Reporting live, Brandon Bates, WXII 12 News.
All right, Brandon, thank you. Now to the other big story. We go to New Hampshire, where all the remaining Democratic presidential candidates are closely watching the results trickle in from tonight's first-in-the-nation primary.
Whoever can come away with a victory tonight can carry some much-needed momentum on to the next race. As we take a live look at the Bernie Sanders campaign, Mary Maloney has more now from New Hampshire.
The polls are closed and the votes are being counted as Democrats across the state of New Hampshire and across the country are holding their breath, watching, waiting, and hoping for some clarity in this presidential race. Senator Bernie Sanders, considered by many to be the favorite, cautiously optimistic that he will have a good night.
All I can tell you is we're feeling good. We have done what has to be done.
Meanwhile, former Mayor Pete Buttigieg, who, along with Sanders, also had a strong performance in Iowa, hoping New Hampshire can keep his White House bid going.
We have momentum right now and are in a great position for a good night.
Senator Amy Klobuchar putting together an impressive night in New Hampshire, hoping to keep it all going for the long haul.
Well, what they want is a candidate that can bring people in.
As for former Vice President Joe Biden, he's already moving on, taking a Tuesday night flight to South Carolina, where he hopes support among African-American voters will give him a boost.
This is just the beginning. We have an entire nation to vote yet.
Senator Elizabeth Warren delivering a last-minute pitch to undecided voters, aiming to steal back some of the support that's gone to her rivals.
We're 2 states in, with 55 states and territories to go.
And New Hampshire was the end of the road for at least one major candidate, Andrew Yang announcing he is suspending his campaign.
You know, I am the math guy, and it is clear tonight from the numbers that we are not going to win this race.
In Manchester, New Hampshire, I'm Mary Maloney.
And not long after Andrew Yang's announcement, we heard another candidate bow out. Colorado Senator Michael Bennet told his supporters he too is ending his presidential campaign. He was a late entry into the race, announcing his candidacy back in April. He also struggled to stand out in a crowded field dominated by a number of other moderate candidates. Speaking of one of those moderate candidates, Michael Bloomberg and Bernie Sanders, who we heard from earlier, already have plans to be in North Carolina this week with just a few weeks to go before our official Election Day and right on the cusp of our early voting period. According to the Bloomberg campaign website, he'll be in Winston-Salem and Greensboro kicking off early voting. His campaign calendar says he'll be at Campus Gas on Polo Road in Winston-Salem in the morning, then plans to go to the Community Theater of Greensboro on South Elm Street after that. As for Bernie Sanders, he'll be in our state on Friday. He's scheduling rallies right now in Durham and Charlotte. WXII will have coverage of stops from both candidates. Look for those commitment reports on Thursday and Friday. And we'll also have special Commitment 2020 coverage with results from New Hampshire tonight, coming up at 11:30, I should say, over on WXII 12, right after our 11 o'clock news.
Happening now in High Point. Police are trying to find the person who shot a 15-year-old. Officers found that teenage victim just before 6 yesterday evening in the 1200 block of Adams Street. They say the teenager got hit in the right hip and had to go to Wake Forest Baptist Medical Center for recovery treatment. Investigators say the suspect information is vague, but they are following up on some leads. Now to South Carolina, where a community is holding out hope. Search teams are trying to find a 6-year-old girl. Just outside Columbia, the Casey community held a vigil tonight for Faye Swetlick. Her family hasn't seen her since Monday afternoon at their house. Earlier today, FBI agents searched the property. Family members say she disappeared from the front yard where she was playing after school. Officials say investigators haven't found any evidence of an abduction.
Well, those showers today have continued to kind of taper off, and now we've got another little ramp up, some light rain out there, some drizzle, and we're looking at most of the heavy rains, those thunderstorms today down to the south, but we still have a few more waves to get through. We're going to have a little clearing as we go into parts of our Wednesday, and then more rain chances too. We're looking at those scattered showers down to the south, heavier there over Pittsboro, Fuquay-Varina area, and then as we go up into Mount Airy, Yadkinville, North Wilkesboro, we continue to see some light patchy showers, and this is what's picking up through Winston-Salem right now. You continue to see those heavy clouds as well, but we've got anywhere from 1/4 of an inch to about 1/2 an inch today, so decent rainfall totals. Not that we needed any after all that heavy rain the other day. And we're looking at some drying happening in that 7-day forecast, but not immediately. We've got those clouds. You can see a rainbow enhanced satellite imagery showing you where the clouds are really still socked in, and we've got the rain also on the way from west to east. And we'll look at those with temperatures sitting at 61 degrees. It feels pretty warm out there. I wore my winter coat out earlier and realized not quite needing that just now. We do need the rain jacket still. We'll talk more about your forecast and heading into the rest of the weekend. Your weekend and outlook then coming up.
Thanks, Michelle. In Forsyth County, state leaders decided to close part of a county road that was damaged by those recent heavy rains. Flooding from the Trickham Creek near Highway 8 and Rural Hall washed away part of the shoulder of Memorial Industrial High School Road. North Carolina DOT says the damage left the guardrail unsupported and too dangerous for drivers. That road's going to be closed until they can repair it, but there is a detour in place.
We're lifting up Candace Calclature, the daughter of Yvette Calclature, and the Princess Lines Diamond Cruise ship.
New tonight, the congregation at United Metropolitan Missionary Baptist Church in Winston-Salem is praying for one of its members. Candace Calclature is one of 428 Americans stuck on a cruise ship outside Japan. The health ministry there says 135 people on the ship have come down with the coronavirus. This comes as the first Americans who were airlifted from Wuhan, China, are being released from quarantine. None of them showed any symptoms of the virus. The CDC, though, does confirm 13 people have the virus in the U.S., but their cases are mild. In China, more than 1,000 people have died, and scientists with the World Health Organization want to fast-track testing, drugs, and vaccines. Rowan County public health officials are monitoring several people who recently traveled to mainland China. That's coming from our Charlotte CNN affiliate WSOC. They say the threat of infection is reportedly low, and the monitoring is a precaution. This comes in the wake of news that 4 people in Mecklenburg County have self-quarantined following a trip to China.
Well, right now there are not any confirmed coronavirus cases here in the state of North Carolina. The Governor Roy Cooper has created a coronavirus task force. He says that group will work with local, state, and federal partners to try to get whatever information is pertinent. If you have any questions or concerns yourself, you can call the hotline, which is set up by state officials. The number there on your screen, 866-462-3821. A Wake Forest University economics professor from Hong Kong tells us it is still too early to know exactly how the coronavirus will impact consumers, but the cost of goods from China could rise, along with everything from clothing to electronics. This professor, Tommy Lung, says the entire local economy probably won't take a huge hit because Chinese imports have been down overall since our trade war started. Head to our website or open the free WXII 12 News mobile app to hear more about the impact of this outbreak.
All 4 prosecutors who tried Roger Stone have resigned. Their decision follows an extraordinary step by the Justice Department to lower the amount of prison time it recommends he serve. Officials had requested a 7- and 9-year sentence recommendation for the man who used to work with the president's election campaign. But they backed down after President Trump criticized their sentencing proposal in a tweet, calling it a, quote, miscarriage of justice. The move led to a near immediate protest from prosecutors on the case. Stone was convicted last November of lying to Congress and obstructing the investigation into Russian meddling in the 2016 presidential election. President Donald Trump says he did not order the Justice Department to change the sentencing recommendation for Roger Stone. And he made those remarks today at the White House during a signing ceremony for legislation supporting veterans' participation in STEM careers.
Back to Commitment 2020 now. 4 of the 5 candidates running in the Democratic primary for our state's 6th congressional district answered questions at a town hall meeting just a short time ago in Greensboro. Pretty good turnout at the Guilford County Democratic Party headquarters, where voters asked questions about things like health care, Social Security, and women's rights. The 6th district now favors Democrats heavily after Republicans had held that seat for roughly 40 years.
What really sets me apart from the rest of the candidates that you will hear is my slate of legislation that we had that spoke to social justice and education. And I've been doing it from day one. I've been doing it at the highest levels of state government.
And right now we have people who are in need of folks in Washington, D.C. who understand everyday people's problems and can make policy that makes a difference in their lives. And in this race, I believe that I'm that candidate.
I said in the beginning, I took that solemn oath. And so one of the biggest things that a congressperson will do and possibly have to do is sign a declaration of war. And I am the only candidate who would understand the impact that that decision would have.
We've got this district as it stands for 2 years, 24 months. We don't have time for someone to learn how to get to the appropriations room or to the committee rooms. We need someone that can hit the ground running on day one, fighting for our issues and driving resources home.
The 5th candidate, Kathy Manning, did not attend tonight's town hall. A spokesperson for her camp says she had a prior commitment.